Hi, and welcome to week 2 of the Heal and Strengthen Your Core program. We're going to progress a little bit from last week, so remember to do your pelvic floor exercises first so that you have a little bit of a connection going before we get into these more progressive exercises. And then when you're ready, come to lay on your back. We start with one of the same exercises we did last week. Feet close, natural curve in the spine, and then find already that pelvic floor lift, belly button draws in. Okay, so there's no movement in the lower back or pelvis here. We're going to do our leg slides. So baby, keep your hands on your hip bones and over your belly button just to make sure that there is no movement. All right, let's go. Flex one of your feet and then slide the heel on the floor. Slide the leg away from you and then draw it back in. No movement in the spine. Flex the other foot. Send it away. Draw it back in. And again. Changing feet each time. And change. So the hip flexors are obviously gonna engage a little bit here, but we don't want them to be the main worker here to draw the leg in. Focusing on mind to muscle connection, finding the core to help the leg coming back. And just keep going with these movements. We have 3 more on each side. And other side. 2 more. Keeping that activation. Draw the leg in. And 1 more. Last side. And relax. Ooh, relax the belly. Maybe let your knees drop from side to side to release. And then bring the feet back together where they were. Same thing here. There's no movement in the spine. There's no movement in the pelvis. We're going to once again work those transverse abdominals, the really, really deep layer of core that we have, and it sits around like a corset. Okay, let's go. Lift the pelvic floor, lift the lower belly. We're going to drop one knee at a time out to the side. Don't tilt the hips with it, and then draw it back in. And then the other knee, drop it gently. Find your core, draw the knee up. Feel how you have to work. Cross the torso to draw that leg back in. And drop. And lift. And drop. We're going to do 6 on each side. So we are halfway through. Dropping one side. Keep your hands on your hips so that you can really make sure the hips are not tilting with the leg. The leg only goes as far to the side as your mobility lets you without the hips dropping. Mobility or your strength lets you without the hips dropping. We have 2 more on each side. Drop and lift and drop and lift. Last one. Lifting up and drop and lift. This time hug the knees to your chest. Release the core. Take a few deep breaths here. Maybe give your lower back a little bit of a massage under you. And then however you want, come up to a seat. Flip yourself over onto hands and knees. Moving into some bird dog exercises. Stretch your left leg behind you and your right arm in front of you. Now here it gets important that the lower belly and the pelvic floor has a connection so that we're not dipping into our spine. So lifting up the front body, closing in the ribs, okay? Now using your glutes here, or glute on the left side, lift that leg off the floor to about hip height if that works for you. And then lengthen between your fingertips and your toes. We're just going to hold here for a moment, finding that strength across the back, lifting, lifting, lifting in the core. If it's too hard to have the leg off the floor, you can put the toes back down, okay? But from here, we're going to go in between some crunches. So take a breath in and lengthen. On the exhale, the elbow and the knee is going to touch underneath your body. And lengthen out again. Watch out for that spine swaying. And then bring it together. Here you can curve the spine a little bit if you like for an extra contraction of the abdominals. Stretch it out. And then bring it in. 3 more. 1. And in. And 2. And in. Last one. 3. And in. We stretch everything out first. And then put it on the floor. Let's go straight to the other side. Right leg out, left arm out. Before you lift the leg off, what usually happens is this, that the back relaxes and the belly relaxes once the leg comes up. So we want to establish that first. Belly button up and in, pelvic floor up and in, and then the ribs, the front ribs coming together here. Then you use your glute here to lift that leg off, getting a little bit of a butt exercise in here as well. And then we just hold for a moment. Feel the work the back has to do to keep you in this position. Now take an inhale, lengthen the arm and the leg away from each other. And then elbow and knee together. Lengthen. And contract, maybe a push of the floor for extra work of the abdominals. Lengthen, contract. 3 more. 1 and 2. Or in, this is 2. And the last one. And stretch everything out. And then put it on the floor. Shake it off, maybe come down into a little child's pose or polar bear pose here to release the back. We're going to stay in our tabletop position. We are now working into the obliques. A little bit of a side body strength. So I'm going to flip this way. We start with the left leg. Stretch it behind you. Both hands this time is going to stay on the floor. So you have a little bit more stability than what you did before. But same thing, lift the lower belly, lift the pelvic floor, hug the ribs. And what I mean by that is if you have a tendency to let the ribs out, you're going to imagine that the tips of the ribs here wants to come together. They're closing in. And then hover the left leg. Point your toe maybe. That knee is going to go out to the side and see if you can touch the elbow of the left arm, maybe the tricep, and then stretch it back. So we only have this working. And then maybe look at the knee as you come forward. Feel your side body contracting. Stretch it back. And again. touch, and reach. If you can't touch, then just get as close as you can. This is 4. And stretch. 5. And stretch. Let's do 8 of these. 6. And stretch. 7. Last one. 8. And stretch. And bring the leg down. Woo, shake it off. Let's go straight to the other side. Right leg back. Hover it off the floor. Remember that front body activation we need here to keep our spine neutral. And then lift the knee out to the side. Can you touch it to your elbow? Maybe your tricep. Look at the knee. And then stretch it back. And bring it forward. Touch. And back. Try not to sway too much with your hips here. And back. And 4. Halfway there. You got this. 5. And back. 6. 2 more. 7. Touch. And back. Last one. 8. And back. Whew, I don't know about you, but I'm definitely feeling that one. Come down onto your belly for your cobra push-ups. We did these ones last week as well. Hands by the ribs, forehead to the floor. Roll the shoulders back and down so they're far away from the ears and the neck is really long. And then hug the elbows in close to your body. Let's engage the back body here before we start to lift. Push the hips into the floor. So squeezing your glutes gently. And then start to peel the body up for a cobra. Little push of the hands, but make sure the back is doing most of the work. And then gently coming down. And lifting up. And down. Lift the lower belly. That core engagement is still active. 3. And down. 4. 5. 6. We're going to do 8. You got this. 2 more times. Use your back. 7. Squeeze the shoulder blades together here. 8. And down. Push yourself back into a closed knee child's pose. Have a rest. Arms behind you. Forehead to the floor. And then start to roll up slowly, one vertebra at a time. To sit. Oh, shake it off. Thank you so much for once again practicing with me and for taking a step towards a stronger, more healed you, postpartum you. These are my details. As always, send me any questions you would like or requests if you have any, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you.